50 days ago, I sat down in front of my camera. I don't even remember if it was my phone or my laptop at the time, with zero subscribers and very little plan, and just hit record and started yapping. And I want to talk about what's happened since then, what I'm planning to do for the future, and how we got here. How the heck did we get here? So let's start from the beginning, right? When I first started this channel, first and foremost, I have been someone who's wanted to start a YouTube channel for years, quite literally years. I remember maybe 4 or 5 years ago. Actually, no, it started before then. I remember being fresh out of high school, maybe being 19 ish, and actually making a channel which still has no posts on it, but it was going to be a travel YouTube channel where I post, vlogs and videos from the different cities that I visited and all that. Did the channel get made? Yes. Did anything ever get posted to it? No. But then more recently, I remember at least 4 years ago, talking to one of my friends. And at the time, both of us were going through a lot. Okay. I won't get into that, but we were going through a lot. And we were on the phone. We had been on FaceTime for like three hours. And we were like, we should start a YouTube channel. We were thinking about doing a podcast. We were thinking about doing our own separate channels. Just kept talking about it and nothing ever happened. I think both of us were a little nervous about it. We weren't really sure, what it was going to be about and that whole thing. So it never ended up happening. And then, man, I found a creator here. I've talked about her multiple times. Her name is Glow Atonmo, and I've been following her for years. I think even before I even got out of high school, but she's been daily posting on YouTube talking about how much it's benefited her, talking about her business and all these things. And I was like, you know what? Why don't I just start? So I figured I'd talk about my life. And for a little bit of context, if this is your first time on this channel, first of all, thanks. Hi, hello, welcome to the fam. Come on in, take your shoes off, drinks from the fridge, bathrooms down the hallway. Everyone's welcome as long as you're respectful. So, anywho, uh, yeah, take a seat, get comfy. If it's your first time here, when I first started this channel, which only, yeah, just maybe under 2 months ago now, um, I had a lot on my mind because I had moved across the country. I started a brand new career, like did a 180 on my career, and I was doing a lot of just adapting to a new place, new friends, a new job, new working circumstances. I was working from home when for years I was going to the hospital every day, even like through the pandemic. It was my first time living alone, still my first time living alone. Um, yeah, moving away from my family. I have no family within like a 4 hour flight of me. So there's a lot of new stuff anyway. Still trying to figure out, while I was happy with a lot of the decisions that I made, and I still am, by the way, there were just a lot of new things I was trying to figure out. And I knew that I knew that I had something beneficial to share with other people, especially having accomplished so much, having made a lot of really life changing decisions very quickly, like one right after another. And I knew that I could help other people who were in a similar situation. Even if you're not going through the exact same thing, most people at some point in their life want to make a leap, right? Whether it's moving to a new place, whether it's moving out on your own, whether it's you learn that maybe you need to find a new group of friends, whether you want to start traveling differently, whatever it is, most people have big changes in their life that they're trying to navigate. And for some reason as adults, we feel like we have to be the ones to have it figured out when we make a decision. And I think the beautiful thing about the internet is that we don't. Like, if you don't have someone that is in your life that you are in contact with regularly, that you have access to, there are other people who are in your situation, who have been in your situation, who can kind of talk about the things that they learned and what they went through and things that helped them. And I figured that even if it's a small audience, I think at the time of posting, there's like 53 subscribers, which is still insane to me, by the way. Thank you, every single one of you. But it, I just felt like there was value in me telling my story and sharing what's worked for me, whether it was career stuff or traveling the world solo as a woman while black. I just feel like there's a lot in my life that is worth talking about. And I finally got to the point where I was like, you know what? We can build this parachute once we jump out the plane. That seems so extreme. Like, it's a YouTube channel, but honestly, there's a lot that I wasn't really 100% sure that I was even going to talk about, but it's interesting now that I've shared certain stories. People are like, actually, this is super beneficial in this part of my life. I didn't know that you could do XYZ, or I would have never thought to do this, that, and the other when you travel. It's very gratifying, I must say. So now that I'm in the middle of it, and this is like the first, I mean, there's a couple big milestones. I think 10 days is probably a big milestone, 30 days is a big milestone, 50 days is a big milestone for me, because my first big goal is 100 days of daily posting. It's like the first major goal to the overarching goal, which is a full 365 days of daily posting. But let's talk about what that actually means, right? It's 50 days of getting out of my own head in terms of nobody's going to care what I have to say. I don't look great today. I don't feel great today. There are days when I've been a little bit under the weather. If you look back at some of these videos, I am sneezing up a storm because I was trying so hard to find a good allergy medicine, and I think I found something that worked. If you know, you know. I think I found something that worked. Um, Days when I'm on my cycle and I feel like I'm dying, just horrible moods, getting bad news on some days and still having to like push through, or having a particularly hard day at work or in therapy, and my therapist is asking me hard questions and I'm getting annoyed at him that he's like doing his job. Shout out to Trey. There are so many things that happen in life that make consistency with anything very difficult. But I think it's one thing to, for instance, like if you go to your local gym every single day for 30 days, it's a difficult thing to do. You may not feel like it every morning. Um, it might be cold outside. You might be sore, whatever. But I think there's a unique vulnerability to kind of being able to be in your own bubble. Obviously, there's still people around. It's still weird, even for me, who's been going to the gym on and off, but I would say relatively consistently for a number of years, versus a platform like this where I'm not expecting it to blow up like crazy, but the reality of it is I could post something and 100,000 people see it. 100,000 strangers looking at my face. That's kind of terrifying for most people. For most people, speaking to a group of 20, 30, 40, 50 people is debilitating. And it can be really awkward and it can feel really cringy to sit here and look at a camera and yap for 2 minutes, let alone, I have a couple of videos that are like 45. And I think especially the way that I'm doing it, where there is very minimal editing. I think for like the first 30 videos, there was zero edits whatsoever. Um, and even still, there's very minimal editing. Like you're seeing me trip over my words. You're seeing me still with some of the filler words, the ums and ahs and whatnot. And you can look back at my videos and see, I hesitate to say how bad they were because I was learning, right? I think, you don't say when it's someone's first day behind the wheel of a car that they're a bad driver. You just say that they're new. And I was building a new skill. I'm still building this skill like 50 days in, and half the time I still don't know what I'm doing. I know maybe what I want to talk about. I know maybe a story that I want to tell. I know a lesson that I've learned that I want to teach. I know I have something, maybe valuable to share with somebody, whether it's, travel or LinkedIn or putting yourself out there, being more confident or whatever it is. But there's no script. I just know I have something to say and I hit record and start talking for the most part. Every few videos I do maybe a light outline. I'm getting a little bit off topic, I know, but we're coming back around to it. Hold on. Right after I talked about sneezing too. My Flonase betrays me. Okay. And we're back. Uh so I think what was I saying? I'm finding it. Yeah, I think I sit down and generally speaking, I know what I want to say, right? But there are still days because I have no script, or like every once in a while I'll write like an outline. I'll, go in Word or Google Docs or whatever and jot down some thoughts to kind of jog certain memories as I'm talking, or, kind of loosely keep me on track. But I think there's a lot of value in putting in the reps to get good at something rather than planning and 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 planning. And I was introduced to a new word called productive procrastination, which I'm very guilty of, where you're like, oh, I'm going to start this thing once I plan it to a certain degree. And you never do anything because you're so stuck on like making sure that it's perfect when you start, when really for most of us, for a lot of things, getting behind the wheel, sitting in front of the camera and just talking is how you get better. And I am very proud of myself that as of today, once I post this video, there are 50 days of me getting behind the wheel and doing the thing. That's crazy. And I think what it's also doing is helping me to build confidence in other areas of my life. Because here's the thing, when you are doing this every day, like long form videos every single day, you can't be too picky about, oh, the sound isn't perfect, oh, my lighting isn't perfect, oh, the pimples on my face, oh, my allergies, oh, my cycle, oh, my, it's been such a busy day. When you commit to it and you're going to do it, you cannot be a perfectionist about it. And not being a perfectionist about this, where it's a very public platform, like initially when I first started this, nobody I knew that I started the channel. I just started it. Now there are a few people that know me. Hey guys. There are a few people that know me that watch my videos now, but I think getting out of my own head in terms of being a perfectionist has now rolled into other areas of my life. So I'm less concerned with making sure that I show up perfectly in every single thing when I know now that just the act of showing up is more important than making sure I look perfect, making sure I sound perfect, making sure, that the backdrop is perfect. If you look back at my videos, most of my videos are done in my itty bitty apartment or, my living room or wherever I happened to be that day or wherever I felt comfortable or whatever. You can't be too picky about that. And there's also an aspect of it of, how do I say this? Maybe building the muscle of being comfortable with a level of vulnerability. Because don't get me wrong, at uh, every single one of these videos is not sharing some crazy life story or some, huge life lesson where I was screaming, crying, throwing up, sliding down the wall about something that's happened in life. But there is something very vulnerable about putting yourself out there in such a public way. And you get to a certain point of posting these videos where you stop you stop waiting for the discomfort to end, and you just sit with the fact that, like, I am okay showing up this way. And the people that appreciate me showing up in whatever form it happens to take, whether it's a raggedy t-shirt or an Amazon moo or or whatever, a sweatshirt, a dress, whatever it happens to be, those are the people that I want to stay anyway. Um, yeah, and I think the lesson here is that like this is what a commitment to a thing does, right? You force yourself to show up, whether it's, and again, using myself as an example, going to a spin class every day. And it's embarrassing, but you got to go to get better. And you're out of breath and you're trying to make sure nobody else in the class sees that your ribs are hurting and ready to stop, and you're like out of breath and gasping for air. And then eventually you get to a day where you get through half the class before it really feels like a struggle. And then you get to a day where you're almost all the way through the class and it's less of a struggle. And then you get to a day where you finish the class and you're like, wait, I was able to keep up with the instructor. Hold on, hold on. And it can be like that with anything. It can be like that with anything. It can be that with the gym. It can be that with uh maybe you're someone like me who is in therapy working on a lot of things. I'm a very imperfect human. Anybody that knows me personally, anybody who watches this channel on it, let's be honest, anybody who has watched a single one of my videos knows that I'm a very imperfect person. But especially those people that know me personally know, like, yeah, Lex has got some stuff to work on. She's got a few things to work on. But like the consistency compounds, and that's something that I'm also really proud of myself for. Like 50 days ago, well, okay, back up a little bit. I have definitely posted content on the internet of me just like yapping about various things, I talk about LinkedIn here a lot, a good amount here on the channel. I have videos posted to LinkedIn. And I remember even like back in the days when I was still on Snapchat, which was like high school, maybe a little post high school, like I would definitely post things of like me just yapping at the camera, talking about whatever I wanted. And on Instagram, I had like a little mini, I don't know if you would call it a show or a podcast, but I had this little like close friend show, which like vulnerable, but also like not really because I knew exactly who was going to see it. And like I could kind of curate the audience in that way, so it was a little less vulnerability. But I had this thing where whenever I wanted to talk about something, especially like some of my more, I don't want to say controversial, but just some interesting opinions that I have, or if me and my friends would have a conversation and I disagree about something, then I'd like yap about my side of the conversation, and then have a discourse with certain people on Instagram. And the whole thing was like, boop, 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 welcome to Alexis talking about whatever she wants. And then I would talk about whatever I wanted. Um, so people who know me personally have definitely seen me yap on camera, but I think it's a really special thing to now have 50, once this is posted, have 50 long form pieces of content for people to look back on and learn about me, learn about things that I know when it comes to traveling, when it comes to making a career change, when it comes to breaking into tech, when it comes into uh, sitting with yourself and trying to be a better person and realizing that you have a lot of changes to make, but also not beating yourself up about it, and still trying to remember that everyone's a person in progress and you don't need to judge yourself too harshly on it. And is this too specific? Maybe. Uh, there are 50 pieces of content now, long form pieces of content. My hair will not allow me to be great today. Okay. Long form pieces of content out there on the internet. That's insane. Like YouTube in the like back end, the YouTube studio like dashboard will tell you how many watch hours you have, which is essentially, I think there's like some limitations to it, but essentially how many hours people have watched your content. So if you have an hour long video and one person watched it, that's one watch hour. If you have maybe six people watch a 20-minute video, that's two watch hours. You get what I'm saying? And my YouTube watch hours are approaching 90 hours. Like, that's incredible, but it's also terrifying. People have looked at my face, people have listened to me yap on the internet for almost 90 hours. It's getting more terrifying the more I talk about it. I'm proud of myself. I think that's such a cool thing. That's something that very few people can say, right? And also, may I just say that someone mentioned the other day that there's a, actually, I'm going to see. Let me, hold on. I got my laptop here. I want to actually see what percentage of YouTube users ever post to the platform. Hold on, we gonna see something real quick. We're gonna do some arithmetic. Hold on, because I think this is kind of crazy. All right, Claude is thinking. Okay, okay. So 4 point. This is roughly because it's going off of a few different sources. So roughly 4.4% of YouTube users have ever created a channel. Okay, so that's not posted to the channel, that's created a channel. Remember, I have a channel. I have a channel that I've never posted to. Also have a like personal channel that technically I've posted to, but it wasn't like me creating content. I'm not going to go into that. It's just, let's just say nothing ever got posted to it. 2 to 2.5% run an active channel, meaning post at least monthly, and 0.1% are monetized partners. So I'm not a monetized partner yet. We gonna get there. We gonna get there. We're not there yet. But YouTube, again, this is how Claude is wording this. YouTube is overwhelmingly a passive consumption platform. The vast majority of its users are there purely to watch, not create, which is actually what makes the creator economy so lucrative for the small slice who do post. So, I am part of, mind you, there's around where's the ooh, okay. There's around 115 million YouTube channels. Only around 60 to 65 million are active, meaning they post at least once a month. So I'm part of 2% of YouTube's active channels, or like created channels. That's not including all YouTube's users, right? Because most people who watch YouTube don't have channels. They're just signed in on their Google account. So even like that stat, I'm taking way too long on this section of the video, but even that stat is like, that's a confidence boost. Your girl, your girl is elite. That's amazing. Because not only have I posted every single day, but in 50 days, in less than 2 months, I've probably posted more content than what most people who have active channels post in multiple years. Hey now. That's crazy. That's absolutely insane. But man, like 50 days ago, I was someone who was scared to post to YouTube, and now I do it every single day. 2 years ago, I was scared to make a big move and to start a new career. And I've done that. Like, there was a time in my life when I was terrified. Terrified. I knew I wanted to do it, but I was terrified of solo traveling. Now I'm in Costa Rica, solo, having the time of my life. And hopefully showing you how to have the time of your life as well, and how to do it safely, and how to have fun, how to take the leap for yourself. And I'm not done. Like, I'm only halfway to my first goal. Like, if 50 days ago I was scared to hit record, and I've now done it 50 times in a row, and you can go back in my channel and see how much better I've gotten. If in 50 days I've gotten 53 subscribers, imagine what's going to happen in the next 50 days, and then the following 100, and the 100 after that, right? I'm really excited to see where this goes. I'm so excited that I proved to myself that I could do it. Now, again, we're halfway to the first goal, so we still have a way to go. But I showed up for 50 days, y'all. 50. 50 days. I'm in Costa Rica. I'm loving like the person that I'm becoming. Like you guys don't even know, but there are lots of internal transformations happening for me, and it's so cool now to be able to go back and see the changes happening in real time because I'm here every day. I'm here pestering y'all every single day. Ah, yeah. So anyhow, thank you so much for joining me on this channel. Thank you so much if you've gotten this far in the video. If you don't know, my name is Alexis, and I post here on YouTube every single day. Thank you for joining me. And hop on this train early. Like I said, my first goal, my first big goal is 100 days. My ultimate is a full 365. So if you are a woman who's interested in solo traveling, if you are somebody who's looking to do something different in their career, if you're someone who is ready to make a big life decision, a big life change, wants to see somebody doing something, doing life 180s, let's say, somewhat successfully. But you also want to see like the real part of the journey, not just the like, hey, I quit my corporate job and now I'm making 6 figures working 2 hours a day. I have the best friend group and the best job and the best house and if you want the real side of life as an adult woman, as a 20 something or now 30 something. That's the other thing. I am freshly 30. Oh, freshly 30. Oh, which is also crazy to say. I have so many thoughts even on that cuz wow. Um yeah. That's a whole other thing we will get to in future videos. But yeah, thank you so much for joining me. Yeah, like I mentioned, and this is the end of the video. If you're new here, this is usually where I continue yapping for another 5 minutes. If you're a regular, hey y'all. Man, I am so happy that I decided to take this trip. I have a few more posts that I want to make specifically on like solo traveling as it pertains to this trip on Costa Rica. I'm gonna share once I leave like some details on like the hotels and the journey and everything. So I was the first couple of days for like the last couple of videos. I was in the capital. I think it's the capital city, San Jose, and I took a shuttle. There's like shuttle vans that run every day down to like a few cities on the coast. And oh my gosh, Costa Rica? I knew Costa Rica was a vibe, okay? Obviously, I've seen pictures, I've seen videos. It was so funny, even on the plane over here. The flight attendant, is, welcome to Costa Rica. And every time he said the words Costa Rica, it was almost impulsive. Like he didn't have control over it. He would be like, Bienvenidos a Costa Rica, pura vida. Thank you for flying to Costa Rica, pura vida. I thought it was so funny. It was cute, but it was so funny to me. But anywho, I took the shuttle down, and the landscapes here are unbelievable. Literally, where did they film Jurassic Park? Because it looks so much like Jurassic Park. because there's a part of the drive where you're driving like through the mountains, and on both sides it's like a two-lane road. On both sides of the road there's like these huge like rock walls, but they're covered in foliage and like huge trees and bushes. And this is one of those places where, don't get me wrong, there are normal sized plants, but it feels like so many of the plants have like huge leaves, like the not even like palm fronds, but even the almost like monstera looking plants, the leaves are like giant. It makes you feel so tiny as you're driving through. And then it started to rain partway through, so you'd have openings where it would go into like smaller valleys, or you'd see like a river going through the mountains, and there would be like these mini waterfalls. And because it was raining, like you'd have like a mini waterfall, and then more rock wall covered in foliage, and then it would open up to a valley, but it would be like foggy, like very very Jurassic Park, very Land Before Time. So happy I decided to take the long way, because it was like a 5-hour drive down here. Was definitely ready to stretch once I got to the hotel. And this hotel is so cute. I can't wait to like wake up and see the sunrise here. There's a cute little pool. You'll see more of the filming location, so I'm very excited for that. But anywho, yeah, I'm so happy that I decided to do this trip. Um, yeah, this trip is doing a lot for me, and I want I want to talk about it more in depth. Um, if you haven't seen it already, I do have one video that I posted. Oh, I think it's been over a month now. It's like solo traveling is the ultimate form of self discovery. I don't know. If I remember, I'll link it, but it's really reminding me of that video. Like it's completely reinvigorating my love for solo travel. And man, this is lighting a fire under me. I want so bad. I want so bad to keep doing this year. Also, if you've seen my goal is to visit 10 countries. So happy I ended up making Costa Rica one of them. I don't even think Costa Rica was on that list, by the way. It was a last minute thing, and maybe I'll talk about how I landed on Costa Rica, because it was like I said, very very last minute trip. But anywho, I'm so glad I'm here. It's been absolutely beautiful. Costa Ricans can throw down in the kitchen. The food has been good. Surprisingly diverse food options as well, which I wasn't expecting. Um, yeah, I'm so excited. 50 days in, y'all. 50 days in. Yeah, I'm so excited for what's to come. I have a ton, a ton of video ideas for while I'm here in Costa Rica. So I'm gonna keep filming. This might be the first time I film like multiple videos in a day, because I really want to take advantage of like the surroundings and the fact that I'm literally in the middle of the jungle. Um, yeah. So anywho, again, if you are still here, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Please hit subscribe. I don't know if y'all watch Jessie Woo, but she has the subscribe. Like, subscribe. Yeah. Anywho, y'all, thank you so much. I'm tired. I'm ready to go to sleep. Um, yeah. 50 days, 50 more to go. Yeah. I'll see y'all later.